Today I attempted a Pokemon Randomized Nuzlocke. I decided to play the Soul Silver version because that is one of the games from my childhood and I really enjoyed it. The rules for this Pokemon Nuzlocke are: if the Pokemon faints, it's considered dead and it must be released. No using healing items in battle. Only the first encounter on any route counts, even if you kill it, catch it, or flee. The Nuzlocke doesn't start until I have Pokeballs, and if you white out or black out, the game is over. With all that being said, here's how it went. I started off by going downstairs after a good night's rest, where I was greeted by my mother telling me that Professor Elm was looking for me and that he had a favor to ask me. I went over to his lab and he told me about walking with my Pokemon and hinted that it helped evolution and that he was going to give me a Pokemon and told me to choose one from the machine over there if I go see Mr. Pokemon for him. So I walked over there and the Pokemon I could choose from were Clamperl the Ice type, Shiftry the Poison type, and Staryu the Steel type. I decided to go with Shiftry and name him Gary. After leaving the lab, I walked outside and was greeted by the neighbor, and she told me that I should show my mother my new Pokemon. When I went to show her my new Pokemon, she also gave me my phone that just got repaired. As I started to head to Mr. Pokemon's house, Professor Elm stopped me and gave me his number. On the way to Cherry Grove City, I encountered a few wild Pokemon, but they were no match for Gary. After arriving at Cherry Grove, this old man stopped me to show me around the town. It was kinda hard to keep up with, but after he showed me around, he gave me a pair of running shoes that he said were new. He also gave me a map for my phone. A little past Cherry Grove, I ran into a Nidoking and couldn't run away, and he decided to send me back home to my mom, but that's okay because, as I said before, the run doesn't officially start until I have Pokeballs. After finally making it to Mr. Pokemon's house, I was greeted by him and Professor Oak and received a mystery egg and the Pokédex. When I started heading back to the lab, Professor Elm called me and told me to get back quick because there was an emergency at the lab. As I hurried back, I ran into this red-headed guy who challenged me to a battle. I really didn't have time to deal with him, so I ended his Pokemon and kept running back to the lab. When I got there, the police tried to accuse me of stealing Elm's Pokemon, and the neighbor girl came and told them that it was the red-headed guy, and they asked me his name, and I told him it was Rick. After everyone left, I gave Elm the egg, and he was surprised to see it. He also told me that Oak gave me the Pokédex because I have the potential to become a strong trainer, and then challenged me to take on the gyms and the champion. So I accepted. I told my mother bye, and not to spend any of my money, and then I left. As I headed on to the next route, I saw the neighbor girl who showed me how to catch a Pokemon and gave me some Pokeballs. Now the run has officially started. Now that the run has officially started, I wasted no time and found my first encounter to be a Ninjask. I lowered its HP and threw a few Pokeballs at it and managed to catch it and name it Aaron. I made it to the next route after Cherry Grove and encountered an Electrode, and just like Aaron, I lowered its HP and threw Pokeballs and called it, naming him OJ. I went back to the Pokemon Center to heal before continuing my journey. After healing, I decided I need to get the rest of my team up to par with Gary, so I went and did some leveling. After leveling up OJ, I went ahead and continued my journey. As I walked along the next route, I was challenged by this kid who called himself a god. I took care of his Pokemon quickly and was challenged by another kid who claimed to be a god and did the same thing to him. A little further along, I was challenged by a store clerk and decided to leave with Aaron, who at the time was only level 2. I lowered the opponent's Espeon to about half health and switched to OJ in fear of losing Aaron. OJ made quick work of the Espeon and I continued my journey. I made it to a new route and encountered a Fraligator. He left Aaron with 2 HP, so I switched to Gary and lowered its HP to half and threw Pokeballs. I eventually caught it and named him Peter. Right after that, I encountered a Shieldon and tried to run but couldn't, and he viciously murdered Aaron, so I brung out Gary and ended his career. I finally made it to Violet City, where I healed my Pokemon and had to release Aaron. After that, I headed down to Route 32, where I encountered a Spearow and accidentally killed it. I then made my way to the Sprout Tower and encountered a Porygon. I was really ready to catch it, and then I killed it. I made my way up the tower, battling trainers and destroying their teams. When I made it to the top, I saw Rick and this old man who was lecturing him on taking better care of his Pokemon. So I battled the man, and he put up a fight. He put Peter and Gary to sleep and paralyzed OJ, but in the end, I still came out on top. After the battle, I healed my Pokemon and took on the gym. The trainers up front weren't any problem, but Bob, on the other hand, was. I thought it was going to be an easy battle because I was a higher level. I took out his first Pokemon with relative ease. Then he sent out Metang, who Dragon Raged OJ, killing him instantly. I threw out Peter, and he was also Dragon Raged, but lived and hit a Cross Poison, but it didn't do much damage. He then was killed by Dragon Rage. Last up was Gary, who was the only hope for this run, but he was killed instantly by Dragon Rage. With my whole team dead, I whited out, and the run was over.